know what is a business model canvas? No? Yeah? Okay. The business model canvas is a framework where you can design your business model, right? It's a framework of 9 blocks divided like this. Yeah? So basically, I'm introducing the business model canvas for a second. And basically you have in the center what you sell, what you offer, which is the value proposition, right? On the right side, you have who, you have all the emotional part where you create the value of your business. And then you have customer segments here, and customer relationship. How do you have this, how is this relationship? Do you have here channels? Yeah, how do you deliver the value proposition to this customer? And this is the right side. The right side is full. Then here you have the revenue streams, how you earn money. And at the left side, you have the key resources. Is how do you build your structure to deliver on the value proposition. You have key activities where you spend time for delivering these, and key partners, or key partners. And the key partner is helping you optimizing or reducing the risk of part of your business model. And when you know what resources you need and what activities you have to do, you have your cost structure. So you have your costs here. So basically, this is the what, this is the who, and this is how. How I create value and here you have cost and revenues, right? Okay, so any question until here? Yeah? But most of you have used, who has used this one time? Okay, more than 5? Okay. So, if you have used these, one of the challenges I find with these, and when I use the tool, is it's that we put too much information. We start with post-its on different colors, and we start put a lot of channels here and a lot of characteristics here of the value proposition. So, a lot of resources, activities. So you end up with a poster, with a canvas, with a lot of information. And that's not useful when you have to make decisions about your strategy. So what I found very useful is you take one block, and I advise to practice first with this block where you have several platforms or customer segments, right? And then, all this is true. And then you take one business model canvas and you copy this customer segment. You have the other one. You have the other one. So you do one for this, one for the other customer segment, and one for the other one. And when you have this, the common things here, you don't repeat it down there. But you start building what is this customer. So you just think, you forget the rest, you just think of the big one. And then you say, okay, my channels for this one are this one, this one, this one. This allows you to go more in detail with this customer and only to describe the value for this customer. So you build all of these for everyone. And there are 2 benefits of that. First benefit is that you have more empty place. So you can have a better idea of what this customer customer is playing, what role is playing in your business model. For example, it happened that for this customer, it's really important that I have these cursors. So when I have this picture, I can remember, okay, that is the dynamic of that customer. But for example, for this one, you may need a big channel, and for this one, you may have a partner, like an association or something that opens this channel, and you write to this customer. So then the dynamic is this one. And you see, you start to differentiate your parts of your business model. And this helps you to think about more ideas. While this full paper of colors is like no way to understand, and it's so messy and you don't get the point of things. So
you're talking about same value proposition.
Yeah, I'm talking about the same. Well, I'm talking about the same business model. You can have here like three value propositions, or you can have one for each one. But even this is normally when you have a multi-platform, multi-sided platform business model. But if you have one, you may have also some characteristics that are different to this one. So when you split them, you slice them, you have space to work on that. And
you want to slice it from the customer side?
Okay, good point. I always start here because the customer is the most important thing, right? If you don't have a customer who buys, then you buy nothing, right? Okay, but it might happen that in some cases you want to do another blog, for example this one. Like you told me just now, you are trying to build a new product with different revenue streams.
Will be cloud products, so a SaaS solution instead of a solution that we deploy at some site. So from on-premise moving to SaaS.
Yeah, okay. So that's your assumption, that your hypothesis that you can move from one revenue to another one, no? So let's say that we are innovating something and we have different cases here. We could slide also from here to the rest. We could take this one revenue streams and this one and make the business model canvas for this one and then for this one. Yeah. You also, so I think it's useful to slice the business model canvas first here and try and see the dynamics, how it helps you in the ideation process. Then also this one could be also a good point to slice, depending on the cases. And I think this one also could be also a good option, depending on the cases, if you have several value propositions. So you basically start one block and build from that block.
What's the difference between slicing and doing different scenarios? Because I did a business council from one of my businesses, and I discovered that I had problems with my two partners, that they changed. Yeah, so that one of the partners had a different behavior, which was not good for my business.
Yeah.
So I did a kind of different scenario, but I could also have another kind of slice to see where they influence on.
Yeah, exactly.
What's the difference between a different scenario and different slice?
Yeah, like different scenarios for me, I also do different scenarios and prototyping a lot of ideas. But for me, the slicing concept is starting from one block and then do like this, and then build from that block. Yeah? So you take this point as a starting point, and then you build the rest. And
so it's a fundamental choice that you focus on the customer instead of the product, and that is the reason why you slice from the customer. That is an assumption, and that colors your whole exercise.
Exactly. Because you can focus on one thing. In this case, you can focus here. You start with, if I have this customer, where do I find them? What's the value they are willing to pay? Right? But if you start from two partners, for example, then the rest of the business model may change, as you said, to different scenarios. But then the focus is clear.
Do you exercise on the cost structure?
On the cost structure, not really.
Because I got a question from a client who said we want you to take a look at our cost structure.
Yeah.
Because we don't believe that we can optimize the revenues at the moment, but we have the feeling that we can do something with the costs.
Okay, then I would say, why not slicing from here then? Because the cost is the consequence.
That was my answer also.
Mm-hmm.
That's something that you.
Okay. No, because this is a consequence of this, so you slice from here, and then you see what you can do there or what you cannot do anymore because you have to cut costs. Excuse me.
I came in a little late, so I might have missed. Did you talk about the why question of doing this?
Okay.
Why you're slicing? What you want to get out of the fact that you are slicing?
Yeah. Okay. Why I am slicing is because I find it very useful in terms of when you have the complete business model here, you have many information that you cannot see.
Mm-hmm.
You cannot read it, you cannot take decisions because it's all very a mess, like very full of things. So so slicing from one block, like from here, for example, you have 3 customer segments and you do this, and this, and you think from this part, you build the rest, but you don't repeat the coming things. You avoid the coming information. You just put just point the information for
If
that.
you look at it in practice, what does this result in? So my sort of view is most times based on health. 5 years ago, my thesis was on business models and applying them to hospitals. They're the most convoluted structures, so there's everything in there, like all kinds of cost structures, all kinds of consumers, all kinds of actors, all kinds of, like everything. Everything separate. But this side seems handy. But when you've done that, like you've all the green dots connected, what is your sort of outcome that you do?
Yeah, I do that with teams that are on the ideation part of the business model and the starting a startup. So where you have a lot of information, you want to do everything at once, and then you build a business model and it's full of information. So something to clear up this mess is, okay, take just one part and think about them because you are missing here.
So it's a way to focus.
Things here, yeah.
It's a way to focus.
You're actually, when you're lead and start, you're trying to find that one customer segment that you will want to start with to optimize. And then later on, from the scope, or it might have changed your customer segment. And this is a really good way to focus and choose the customer segment that you want to start with as an early adapter and to go from that. And then it really helps to set out that customer segment.
I totally agree. I mean, you can be in 2 situations, or you have a multi-sided platform and you work in a totally different way for your platform because they are really different among them. Or you have customer segments, like you're starting a business, you can find 12 customer segments. So what do you do first? If you do this, and then
It's to find the risk in your society.
yeah.
It's an easy way to do
Yeah,
it. You will say it.
I just do this for making decisions. You have here, you point here, all the customer segments you have with those dynamics. And then you say, okay, what's important for me to make the decision if I go to this one first or to this one second? They are reachable by channels. They are big markets. They are what's my resources? What do I know about each customer segment best? or are they willing to pay more money? I don't know. You define variables here.
There's another reason. If one of your customer segments is relying on the other one, and you cannot find the first one, or there is a problem with that one, you never get to the second one. If nobody searches in Google, there are no ads to sell, basically. So you can also define what is the kind of
relation.
The most important, or what's the vulnerability in your business model related to the customer segment.
So here you build like kind of a matrix that helps you to go like, okay, this is or this is what I choose first. Yeah, it's all about decision from my experience. And when you have a lot of information, you cannot make decisions. But when you go specifically in
and this is what you most apply to companies trying to decide, rather small companies, so to say, trying to decide. They have the sort of theoretical model, they've done that, where to focus on, or also the other way around, the big company that's got so many different things to focus on, one that, like Will said, want to optimize.
You can't optimize without that focus if you don't know where to start, at least to find the market fit or measure what you want to measure.
And another reason I do this is because, okay, I'm from Barcelona, and in Spain, I think everywhere, the business model Canvas became very famous. And like a cool tool, and let's design business model Canvas, blah, blah, blah. And everybody does this. And everybody tends to put so much information. So first thing I say, no more than 3 postings per blog. So there's a limit, okay? And after that, you can play with that. And this is a way of playing with the business model. I do this in big, and then I do this with this paper side. So we have like, you can build like this paper side and have like 4 or 5. I have some pictures in the mobile. If you are interested, I can show you some examples. You build the big one, and then you go for the little ones.
So, sorry, when you're saying no more than 3 post-its for the house.
Here, normally, because it's kind of limit for people. Otherwise, they spend 1 hour and go in so much details that you don't see the big picture.
If you're a tech company, you have 20 post-its in the resources.
Yeah, I mean, this is key resources. If you put 20, it's telling me that you didn't identify your key ones. Your key ones must be 2 or 3, even 1. Like the key resources for Google is the algorithm.
I see.
And so if you're putting so much post-its here, it means that you still don't know what is your business model precisely. And with this, you clean information. And actually, I'm working in several processes with companies where we start like putting a lot of information, and then next section we change a bit and we eliminate post-its. So this is the way one startup or one company reads their differentiation, their competitiveness. It's like knowing just the few post-its that has to be there.
Because I got triggered by the picture you draw under that. 5 years ago I did a workshop with this, but then I also tried to sort of map out, so you do the same, you sort of scale on 1 to 3, these elements, how you compare to the market, so high, middle or low, say that you're doing everything the same, you're not doing it at all, or you're doing it very different. That was sort of the model. And that sort of, we mapped out as a graph to see where the changes were in your business compared to another. Do you have any examples of using this to compare your business to the rest of the market? Have you any experience?
Like benchmarking.
Sort of, yeah. I use it. I did it with 45 of the 90 Dutch hospitals in the Netherlands, and let them see that they were actually doing this. They were never.
In
they were never seeing themselves as different. They said, yeah, we have to do everything for everyone.
That's why he's.
I try to do it, but the fact that you're different than the other ones doesn't mean that you are able to disrupt their business. And the fact that they are all the same doesn't mean that they are competitors. So you can have an exactly the same business model, you cannot be a competitor. So I understand what you're doing, that you're trying to map your opponents in a smart way to find an opening. I tried it, but it's really difficult, and it's
actually not my theory. The theory comes from Blue Ocean Strategy. If you look at their book, they do it with like airline competitors. I just try to map those two together and see if there's like anything in there.
That's why the lean camp has put in the unfair advantage, that you at least know what's your best thing. But that's a different.
I'm just looking if there's like stuff that other people are using to use it as sort of a benchmarking tool, maybe.
Yeah, I think many people might be using it, but there's nothing like good and yeah. And how was your experience? Was positive?
No, I got a lot of shit because my thesis was like I did my work based partly on what Alexander was doing in his PhD at the time. His book was not written, and hospitals are the most organic structures, I think, if you view them as companies, almost, because everything over the last decade or decades has grown organically. So strategically, they have not defined it, they have accepted it as it has grown into their bigger system. Like, look at the structures, building structures, they're like huge, and everything is like add-ons to different parts. But what I did get back was that the only way that the thing would help them, at least somewhat, was the whole idea of thinking about it in different segments. Like, oh wait, we have to sort of pull customers away from like key partners and think about it that way. And then the benchmarking also try to work, but the actionable part, based on the thing that they found out they were actually maybe able to differentiate, was really hard. So that's why my question was, what do you do after you've done this? Like John Hagel wrote an excellent article called Bundling and Unbundling. It's like the learning thing and the unlearning. So when you are already this big, how do you turn it around? How do you go from being very big again to using this in smaller ways, sort of? Do you have to spin out? So there's a difficult sort of discussion for them, but some of them are able to do some things.
But what I discovered when I tried to do it with a few competitors to make their business model is if you look at the competitor as a cube, your business model is only one plane of the cube you can see, and there's a lot of more stuff, like the way they are organized is not in the business model. It can be really an interesting advantage or disadvantage. So it's really a limited way to perceive a business. Just as you look at the revenues, at the yearly costs they have, it's not a proper way how it works, so it's a kind of limited way of viewing the organization. So if you're benchmarking them.
So what else do you use to sort of add to this? I mean, we also said unfair advantages in the lean camp, so that's something that can be anything, but are there other things that you add to this model to make it more complete?
What I try to do is to map their customer segments from different companies and how they approach their customers, that you can see sometimes for some businesses it's not interesting to grow at the moment, because to grow they need to do big investments to grow, to make a bigger step. So some companies have, like, they have this segment, they have that segment, they have that segment, they're happy in that way. So if you map it like that, and I think for hospitals that is the case, because they cannot grow grow more customers, because you're limited to a certain user base and how they come to you. You cannot start disrupting, draw people from home and like.
Maybe we need a health campus, because the lean campus was sort of developed from the business model context because it needed another look onto business. This is more strategical. Lean campus is more like the problems and the metrics and the unfair advantage. So maybe we need to develop a health campus from that.
I tried to do stuff like that 5 years ago.
And then you got a lot of shit.
Yeah, I got a lot of shit about that, but that's a good thing. If people are up in arms about it, because the big thing that I got a speech from the director of the Erasmus Hospital here in Rotterdam, who sort of completely did away with the whole concept. And I think that was the best sort of response, because that showed that there was a problem with the fact that I tried to strategically sort of define something which they said couldn't be defined. Well, if you have a discussion, there's a start, but that's probably too much into
You put up a sticky
I like
and
it
you
just
can
to.
have a session. You put up a sticky and you can have a session.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not. I mean, it's very specifically focused on. I don't know how many people are interested in health, but I love to do this session.
Well, actually the difference between the lean canvas and the business model.
Oh, it's a big difference.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, the link canvas is, okay, first the origin, the business model canvas is coming from a PhD, from all the study, from a system there, and it's test, and it's working has worked in many cases around the world. And that is because it became very famous. Lean canvas is basically taking the same here and changing this part. This part is different. So lean canvas comes from Ashma Uria, and Ashma Uria was a guy in the United States that was trying to apply lean startup in his software as a service business, and he needs something to track the experiments he was doing. So he met, he knew the business model canvas, and he said like, okay, that's not really working because this is his argument. I'm not really agree with that, but okay, he's like, this is not working for startups because this part looks like more for for a company which is already established. And the first stage, what you look at is customer segments and relationship, and then we put here the problems. The unique value, purpose, the unique value.
It's on the other side. It's the problem, the solution, the metrics.
Exactly, the metrics you use.
Right. And on the other side, it's the unique value proposition. The channels are the same, and the customer segment is the same as well. But it's not as that he said it was for big enterprises. This is more a strategical point of view, whereas the lean canvas is more, it gives you a different insight. It gives you a different view on what you want to know, and then developing customer segments and decide how to go on in your lean process. It gives you a different insight.
I have a question, maybe a very stupid one. If you look at the business, from the startups,
If you look at
startups,
yeah.
let me say in general, most of them they don't have a business model. They have an idea and they start.
That's why the startup is searching for that business model.
Yeah. A lot of them.
How do
You
you know?
look at in Silicon Valley, how many startups
The
do have a
definition
business
of a
model?
startup is that you're looking for a business
Sorry,
model.
can I hear you?
The actual definition of a startup is that you're searching for that business model that will give you money.
No,
that
most of them
for that.
are willing to solve a problem.
When you understand
That's most of the startups.
It's the
That's their
search
first
for-
attention.
it's the
And
search
later on
for-
they decide, okay, we will see how much money we will earn or how we earn money if we have the customers.
But there's also
No, it's the search for that business model that is actually the process that you're
Yeah, but it comes later. And most of the time it comes from investors.
Yeah.
I think you're agreeing, but I think you can become a startup from a business model that you say, I have found something, I have an idea that there is, in a certain niche, there is something to do. I have found this business model.
Maybe some startups are not aware that they're already working on a business model.
And there's also some confusion that is what I found also the most difficult to say that it is different to talk about the revenue model and the business model.
Yeah.
I mean, you just say about making money, and making money always implies that you talk about revenue, but there can be hundreds of options, there can be hundreds of different parts that are part of it. So having a business model is something, maybe you have an idea for revenue model, but no idea for a business model. You know how to make money, but not actually who's going to pay that money.
Yeah.
So there's,
So
from
basically this is
So
the
for me that was
business.
a bit confusing session.
This is the business model of a startup. It's all an hypothesis. It's all assumptions. You start from scratch, you think everything is going to be like this, but you don't know
Everybody
that.
has found
So,
the chicken with the golden egg.
yeah, well, that's a problem for one session. question. Yeah, but I would say if you sometimes you don't have this part because you don't see it, right? And you have to find out as fast as possible if you will have something here or you will not, and your business model will depend on the volume on that side. Like, this is like this. Yeah.
Do you think everybody should have done this
When? Yeah,
when you
always.
start or
Always,
whatever?
yeah. This, because there is a big benefit of this. This is a 9 questions checklist you have to fill up. So when you have an idea,